Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today is our news unit. It's also our all-English unit. Before the program today, our Chinese teacher came up to us and said, "There's no way I'm recording today. I'm tired. I don't want to do it." So we said, okay, we'll just do an all-English lecture for today. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, this is our plan. We do this every month a couple of times. It's an all-English unit, so we're not going to be speaking any Chinese. And I suppose we should be speaking a little more slowly as well.
You need to talk a little more slowly there. Yeah. No, he was just kidding. Our Chinese teacher is awesome. We have a couple and they're always willing to record, but this is just an English unit. So we're going to be talking about two different stories today. The first is turning a pest into something you can chow down on, you can eat. If you chow down, you're just enjoying something you're eating. Chow is C-H-O-W. We'll talk more about that in our lesson, but we wanted to quickly introduce these two news stories so you know what's ahead.
Right, and of course, one of those is about raccoons. We're turning them into food in Germany, so that's something you might expect at a German restaurant, or maybe they'll serve raccoon sausages during Oktoberfest celebrations. And then we're going to talk about scammers. Okay, scammers, of course, are alive and well here in Taiwan, but some company called O2 has kind of come up with some sort of solution, or at least something that's going to help this problem. Of course, scammers will never go away. You need to be aware of them, but let's get to it, everybody. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson right now. From pest to plate, turning raccoons into food. Germany is struggling with a surging raccoon population. First introduced for fur farming in the 1920s, these adaptable creatures have spread to an estimated 2 million across the country. Threatening biodiversity and disrupting urban life, they raise pressing questions about effective management. To address this issue, a German butcher proposed a unique solution, turning raccoons into meat products. Initially met with curiosity, his raccoon sausages and meatballs quickly gained popularity among consumers, even becoming a highlight at food fairs. The taste, described as tender and comparable to other meats, has intrigued locals and tourists alike. However, the idea has sparked debate. Critics argue that balancing hunting with conservation remains a delicate issue, while ethical concerns linger over treating raccoons as food. Conservationists suggest that focusing on measures to protect endangered species may be more effective than hunting. This approach demonstrates how ecological challenges can inspire innovative business opportunities. While such solutions may help address invasive species, they also prompt reflection on balancing human needs with environmental conservation.
Scamming the scammers. O2's AI grandma, Daisy. The rise in online scams has become a global concern, with many falling victim to sophisticated fraudulent tactics. To combat this growing problem, O2, a major UK telecom provider, has developed an innovative solution, Daisy, an AI-powered grandma designed to waste the time of scammers. Daisy mimics a kind and chatty elderly woman, often discussing hobbies or family stories to hold scammers on the line for up to 40 minutes. This not only reduces the scammers' opportunity to target others, but also disrupts their operations significantly. By utilizing advanced conversational AI, Daisy provides immediate responses, keeping interactions flowing naturally. The impact of Daisy extends beyond scam prevention. Her interactions expose the tactics scammers use, raising public awareness and educating people about fraudulent schemes. Moreover, this innovative technology demonstrates how AI can turn a problem into an opportunity, both protecting consumers and fostering a deeper understanding of modern scam techniques. Okay, guys, let's dive in. Our first headline reads, and we always say that our headline reads, the headline read, that's past tense, from pest to plate, turning raccoons into food. We use that colon to then kind of describe what we were being clever or witty about before the colon, from pest to plate. What does that mean? Well, we're going to be talking about turning raccoons into food. Raccoons are sure cute. My cousins up in the mountains when I was growing up in Arizona had a cute raccoon for a pet that was just adorable. They're black and white animals, in case you haven't seen one, and they've got what we call a mask around their eyes because they have these black circles around their eyes, and it looks really like a mask. So they look like little thieves, little burglars in disguise. So that's what a raccoon is. I haven't seen any in Taiwan. Have you, Tom? Have you seen one?
At the zoo, and of course where I'm from in the Midwest, of course raccoons are all over the place, along with rabbits and squirrels and other creatures like that. But Germany, I suppose, did not have them at one point. They were introduced, which we'll talk about now. So again, we're talking about something going from pest to plate. It used to be a pest, and now it's going to be served on a plate. That's a clever title. We do use that sometimes, from something to something, and it's more catchy if the words start with the same consonant sound, from pest to plate, or it could start with a vowel sound if you can think of something. But yes, we're turning raccoons into food. We're going to skin them and cut them up and fry them as steak or as sausages or maybe even hamburgers.
That sounds really gross to me. Just going to say, I don't really want to eat a raccoon. But, you know, we are typical in our cultures. We grow up eating particular types of meat or beef or fish, or even if you're a vegetarian, and you get used to what you eat normally. So to eat something that's out of that comfort zone of yours is a little weird. And I must say a raccoon is definitely out of my comfort zone. But as Tom said, Germany's struggling. They've got a surging raccoon population. If something's surging, it's increasing, but it's increasing really suddenly. It's kind of a rapid increase. Sometimes we talk about a country having a surging population. So the growth in population is really too fast. That's happening in a lot of countries because of a lot of refugees coming in. And so a lot of these countries can't handle it. So here we've got a surging raccoon population. They were first introduced or brought into that country. They're not native to Germany in the 1920s because they were farming them for fur. I didn't even know that raccoons' fur was being used. But obviously they were doing this back in the 1920s. And they describe these creatures as being adaptable. What does that mean, Tom?
That means they can adapt to different places really easily. They can get used to those places, and indeed, they were able to flourish in their new environment. They had baby raccoons, and they multiplied, so it became a problem then. I think there's a similar problem here in Taiwan with iguanas. I think there's a large iguana population in the center and south of Taiwan because they were introduced and they have reproduced. They're quite adaptable, so they've been able to, proliferate or to reproduce themselves in this environment. But yes, indeed, these raccoons have spread to an estimated 2 million across the country. So their population has surged to the number of 2 million. That's probably not as many people, but still, that's a pretty large number, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a lot of raccoons. So what are they going to do? Well, they've got to come up with some sort of resolution or solution. So these raccoons are threatening biodiversity. The variety of life in a particular place is called biodiversity. And they're threatening other animals that live in that area. So they've raised pressing questions about effectively managing the overabundance, you could say, of these raccoons. So that's the problem that they're really struggling with. Biodiversity also just means to protect the different kinds of animals or nature, what is out there in nature, whether it's animals or bugs or things like that, so that you can keep your ecosystem rather healthy in that particular area. And these darn raccoons, there's so many of them, that they're threatening that area, that ecosystem.
Yep, basically life is what biodiversity means, a variety of life, a variety of creatures, and you've got the food chain and all that stuff. If there's an introduced species, it can cause problems with that food chain. And also they're disrupting urban life, okay? So they're getting into the cities. Maybe they're clogging up drains or whatever. They're getting run over by cars, maybe causing accidents, invading people's homes or whatever. So because of these things, they raise pressing questions about effective management. Basically, people are wondering, what the heck are we going to do with all these raccoons? They're causing problems. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, to address this issue or to kind of take care of this problem, a German butcher proposed a unique solution, turning raccoons into meat products. Now, remember, a butcher is somebody who kills and cuts up animals for meat. Okay, so of course we've got lots of butchers here in Taiwan. They kill and butcher pigs all the time. And this is a German butcher, and he had a unique solution, a very interesting answer to this problem, a way to address this issue.
Yeah, what's an issue? It's a problem or even a topic that people want to discuss. Maybe it's of concern to people. It's a concern. It's something that they're worried about. So initially, met with curiosity, this particular butcher, it's somebody who cuts up meat, cuts up animals and turns it into meat that people can then purchase, buy, and consume. He came up with this solution. And at first people were like, that's interesting. He suggested turning raccoons into sausage meat and meatballs. And once people considered it, his solution quickly gained popularity among consumers. So he probably produced it and then showcased his new meat products at things like food fairs that they often have in different cities, where you go and you get to sample different kinds of dishes and different kinds of foods that are maybe perhaps brand new to you. And he had some fans. He had a lot of people there that liked what he was selling.
Right, so he was met with curiosity. Wow, that's an interesting idea, raccoon meat. I don't think I would eat that myself, but, well, if he can sell it, that's fine. But then later on, the sausages and meatballs became more and more popular among consumers. They thought, it's pretty tasty. I'd like to have some. And that even became a highlight at food fairs where they were featured attractions, I suppose. Lots of people lined up to have raccoon steak or whatever. And the taste, described as tender and comparable to other meats, has intrigued locals and tourists alike. So yeah, the important factor here is, what does it taste like, okay? In North America, of course, there's a deer problem. There are too many deer in the U.S. and Canada. But killing them and selling the meat might not be such a great idea, because some people think that the taste of deer meat or venison is just not good, okay? So people don't really want to eat it, but I guess in this particular case, raccoon meat is pretty tasty.
If you intrigue people, you get them curious about something, you arouse their curiosity, or you get them interested in something, and he was able to do this. So it's tender, it's soft, it's not chewy. Sometimes if meat isn't tender, it's hard to chew. So like octopus meat, I can give that as an example. Or squid, I find it very chewy. It's not very tender. But it's got locals, people who actually live there, and tourists, people who want to visit Germany, interested in this particular meat.
However, here in the next paragraph it says, the idea has sparked debate. If you spark something, you kind of start a fire. In this particular case, it has sparked a debate. People have started to discuss this. Wait a minute, you shouldn't be killing raccoons. Why not? They're all over the place. What's the difference? We kill cows and pigs. Why not raccoons? And critics argue that balancing hunting with conservation remains a delicate issue. So these are critics, people who really don't like this idea of killing and eating raccoons. There's a balance between hunting and conservation, okay?
True.
So hunting might get out of control. Maybe they'll shoot too many of the animals, or they might not shoot enough. So yeah, they're not quite sure what this means for conservation. Conservation just means kind of protecting the environment.
Yeah, it's the protection of the environment. taking care of it, managing it well, preserving it, all of those things go into conservation. So it remains a delicate issue, something that isn't easily decided upon just when someone has one idea. You have to consider a lot of things at the same time, and that's what is being brought up here. There are ethical or moral concerns that are lingering or still there over treating raccoons as food. Is this the right thing to do? Is this something that's okay? Do I feel good about that morally? So conservationists, those are people who are concerned with conservation, they suggest that focusing on measures or policies to protect endangered species may be more effective than hunting. So maybe we don't need to send out hunters to just randomly shoot the raccoons. Maybe we need to focus on protecting endangered species instead. Maybe that would be a better way to go with this particular problem.
Right, that's the suggestion there, to protect the native species. And this approach demonstrates how ecological challenges can inspire innovative business opportunities. So this shows us, this is an approach, this is kind of a response to this problem, and it's a course of action. This approach tells us, or lets us know, that ecological challenges can inspire really interesting business opportunities. So ecological just means having to do with the ecology, natural systems, how they affect each other, like the food chain and things like that. And these indeed are challenges. And if you come up with some solutions to this problem, well, lots of people will come up with ideas and they can start a business and make money because of it.
I love that. A lot of people are very clever, and sometimes people can come up with solutions that are much better than people that work for the government. So we need to listen to different ideas and see what comes up from them. In the meantime, they need to find a solution that will help address these invasive species. Sometimes particular animals, especially if they're not native to a certain area, will kind of take over. Things like wolves, they'll just start eating up everything. So invasive just means something that's not really supposed to be there, that's causing a lot of problems with other habitat that's in the area. So you need to be really careful about that. And this problem is also prompting reflection. People are thinking more deeply about how to balance human needs with environmental conservation. So this is just the first story. We're going to continue on talking about the next story, but first, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Let's continue with our lesson. We just got done talking about raccoons and how to control their population in Germany, and you could use that as a way to discuss controlling invasive species populations here in Taiwan, like the iguana or the common myna or whatever. They're not supposed to be here, and they're causing problems. Now let's move on to something else that isn't supposed to be here. Scammers. Okay, these are naughty people that try to get money out of people. And they cheat them out of their money. They offer a product or a service when they have no intention of offering that product or service. They just want their money.
Haven't you had a scammer try to scam you before, Tom?
Yeah, somebody called and said that they were my son and that they had been, kidnapped or whatever. Of course, they said it in Chinese. And when I responded in English, "What are you talking about?" Well, the person got very angry and cussed me out in Taiwanese. I guess a lot of people have had a similar phone call to that. But there are other ways in which people scam people.
Yeah.
I think there's something in India where they make people buy these gift cards or something at Target or Walmart or something, and then they're supposed to send them the picture of the card, and then they get scammed out of a bunch of money. There are all sorts of ways to scam people.
There really are. I was telling Tom before we started, my dad, after he was retired at home, he'd get phone calls, and he would play with them. My dad was an attorney, and he would just kind of lead them along as if he was going to fall prey or fall victim to these scams. And then at the very end, he would tell them he knew what they were up to and that he would not be scammed. So this is an article about O2. It's an AI program that produces somewhat of a grandma voice, and they're naming this grandma voice as Daisy. She's not a real person. She's part of an AI program who can actually make responses to these telephone calls. So it keeps some of these scammers online busy for a while so they can't scam other people. Let's get started by starting in the first paragraph. You want to start there, Tom?
There is nothing that I would rather do. So here we go with the next paragraph. It says, the rise in online scams has become a global concern, with many falling victim to sophisticated, fraudulent tactics. Yes, with the internet, of course, we have convenience in our daily lives. We can watch videos online all we want to. But of course, that means criminal activity can increase as well. We've got all these fraudulent tactics. If something's fraudulent, well, it's deceptive. It is trying to cheat you out of something. It's not honest at all. And these are ways in which people get money from you. They can threaten your family or whatever. They can say that your son has been kidnapped or whatever, or that you have some extra money in your account and it's a mistake and you need to, do something else to even this thing up. So yeah, these are different ways. And it seems like every couple of months you hear about a new scam that you got to watch out for.
Oh, yeah, I get scams. I don't get scams on my phone so much, but I get them through email all the time. I just had one this morning and I thought, no, I know what you're doing. And so I always report them to my email company. But yeah, a scammer is someone who tries to trick others for personal gain. Usually they're using fraudulent tactics. Fraudulent is just a word that means you're intentionally deceiving someone. You're lying to them, and you're often trying to get money from them or something that's valuable. They often scam older people who aren't as aware of these things that are going on, and they're not very good with technology, and so they're more easily scammed, which is very sad. Sometimes people lose their life savings because they're scammed. So be careful. Protect your grandparents if they don't know what's going on. So to combat this growing problem, combat here is the verb form of this word. The noun is combat, which means a fight, usually between military forces, a combat force. That's also the adjective form of that. But to combat, we pronounce it differently. So the zhong-yin is on combat. Combat this growing problem. O2, which is the name of a major UK telecom provider, they've developed an innovative solution, a really clever solution. If you're a UK company, you're in Europe, the United Kingdom, telecom provider is a company that either provides telephone service or internet connection. They are a communications company. They might even be a company that provides apps. But usually telecom to us means telephone or internet, or some companies provide both of those, but some only provide one or the other. So you have to look at the company itself. This one's called O2. And like I said, they developed a really clever solution. What it is an AI-powered voice that sounds like a grandma, and they've named her Daisy. And she's designed to waste the time of scammers.
Wow, that's interesting because I had a great aunt by the name of Daisy. She passed away a while ago, but in any case, yes, this might be a common name for elderly women. You won't see men named Daisy. That's kind of silly, but in any case, she's designed to waste the time of scammers.
Yeah.
And now here in the next paragraph it says, Daisy mimics a kind and chatty elderly woman, often discussing hobbies or family stories, to hold scammers on the line for up to 40 minutes before the scammers figure out what's going on and then they hang up and try somebody else. But if you mimic something, that means you kind of copy something. You try to act like somebody else. In this particular case, Daisy, this program, this artificial intelligence program, tries to act like a kind and chatty elderly woman. If you're kind, of course, you're nice to people. And if you're chatty, you like to chat. Did you know what happened yesterday? I was walking down the sidewalk and I ran into this guy and he said something to me. Yeah, that's like chatting with other people, especially like elderly women love to chat with each other.
I think women in general like to chat more than men, but We've got a name we call people who are very chatty, Chatty Cathy, just because it's kind of fun, Chatty Cat. Oh, she's a Chatty Cathy, or, oh, he's kind of a Chatty Cathy. So they like to talk about their lives, their families, their hobbies, perhaps. So this not only reduces the scammer's opportunity to target others, to go after others, but also disrupts their operations significantly. Kind of gets in the way of them achieving their goal and scamming people. And by utilizing advanced conversational AI, this is really an advanced AI program, Daisy is able to provide immediate responses. So this AI program can understand what they're hearing and then provide responses that make sense. And this keeps the interactions flowing naturally. Interaction is just communication between people or groups or things. You can have lots of different kind of interactions. It could be through email, social media platforms. It could be on the telephone, or it could be meeting people and being face-to-face. There are lots of different kinds of interactions that we use.
And it flows like a real conversation, and these scammers buy it. They think they're actually talking to this person when it's actually an AI program.
Buy it is sort of slang for they believe it, right? They're not actually buying anything. But if you say, oh, he bought my story, it means that he believed it.
Exactly. So, yeah, they accept this, and then, of course, later on they realize they're being taken advantage of, and they hang up the phone. And the impact or the large influence of Daisy extends beyond scam prevention. So, yes, indeed, Daisy is going to do other things. To extend means to move out farther from the original position. Okay, so you might extend your visa, for example, if you travel to Japan and you've been there a couple of weeks and your visa is about to run out and you want to stay longer. Well, extend your visa. And here, her roles are more than just the one there, talking to scammers.
Yeah, you could also perhaps have a class where you have a report due next Monday and you beg your teacher to extend the deadline. That's how we talk about that. So, yeah, she is extending beyond just scam prevention. What else is she doing? She is interacting with these people, and that's allowing these people to be exposed. If you expose something, you kind of reveal something that's hidden. If you're being exposed, somebody else is revealing who you really are. So, yeah, you don't want to be exposed. They certainly want to be anonymous, and they want to be able to reach their goal or target by scamming people and getting money out of them. So, yeah, she's able to expose the tactics that these scammers use. Tactics just means the methods by which something is done. So, it's really a smart AI program. This is raising public awareness, allowing other people in the public to be in on what's going on. They hear about this and they go, oh, I need to make sure I'm not scammed by these people. And it's also educating people about fraudulent schemes that are meant to defraud them and take away money.
Right. So remember, all you young people who are tech savvy, who know all about technology, it's up to you. It's your responsibility to tell your elders, your grandparents or whatever, that they might get calls like this. And don't fall for it. Don't be taken in. Don't buy it, okay? Be aware of what's going on. Indeed, lots of elderly people probably still think that people are okay and they trust people. Oh, why would they cheat me? They must be telling the truth. No, they're actually trying to scam you, Grandma, and you don't have to feel ashamed by being scammed, or you shouldn't let them scam you in the first place.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, especially if your grandparents live alone and there's no one else there to protect them. Make sure they know what's going on. Let them know about the latest scams that are out there. That's always helpful. I have a line group at church, and they kind of inform each other about the latest scams that they've just been made aware of, so it's helpful. Let your friends and your family all know when you hear about something new. So this innovative technology is demonstrating how AI can take a problem and turn it into an opportunity. This opportunity is by protecting consumers and also fostering a deeper understanding of these modern scam techniques. We're used to the old-fashioned stuff, right? When Tom and I were growing up, it was just people calling sometimes, or maybe real people meeting you and trying to scam you in a real estate deal, trying to let you or to deceive you into buying something that really didn't exist. So now we have social media scams all over the place. You got to be careful. If you foster something, it means you're encouraging the development of something or the growth of something. Maybe you're fostering a friendship with somebody. Maybe you're fostering your plants at home, allowing them to grow better. You can use it in different ways.
Right. So you're encouraging something, you're allowing it to exist, to flourish or whatever. So yes, we want to foster this understanding of these scam techniques. Gee, that reminds me, years ago, I used to get these letters from a Nigerian prince or something like that. And they said, oh, yeah, you've got some inheritance. All you have to do is, contact these people.
Give us your bank number and your password, and we'll give you that inheritance.
Stuff like that. So that's just one example of a scam. And there are others out there as well. So please protect yourselves and don't let other people around you be scammed as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of this month's edition of our news unit, our all English unit. Thanks for joining us, and please join us again next time. Also, check out our content on YouTube and Facebook. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.